Hi everyone, Steve Crosby here. Welcome to this edition of Monday Morning Musings. We had said that we were going to do a few episodes dealing with the whole issue of praise and worship based on our book of the same topic. And on this issue, I want to talk to you about the whole issue of the so-called restoration of David's tabernacle or the restoration of David's tent. First of all, it's based on something called Restorationism. And the definition is going to run across the bottom of your screen. Not going to take a lot of time today to unpack what Restorationism is. But the premise of this is in the last days, God was going to restore the tent or the tabernacle of David. And in 1948, in a movement called the Latter Rain Movement, a teaching came forward that this was all about the type of literal singing and instrumentation that David did. He put a tent on Mount Zion, and there he worshiped and danced before the Lord and everything. And they say that in the last days, God was going to build again the tent of David, otherwise build something that was centered around the practice of praise and worship. And it goes like this. You know, if you're in a traditional church and you sing hymns and everything, you're not like up to with the latest move of what God is doing. And if you don't have, modern instrumentation and modern instruments, you're kind of a second level, lower tier believer, not into restoration or present truth. Sometimes the term is called present truth. And part of what God is doing in this age is restoring the power in Davidic forms of worship. Now, there's only one problem. Well, there's a lot of problems, but the major problem with that teaching is the apostles themselves reference that Amos promise, and they tell us that it's been fulfilled. Now, we have kind of a hermeneutical crisis. We either believe what the apostles said, or we believe that we know more than they do and that there's some sort of secret last day unfolding of truth that even the apostles themselves didn't understand. In Acts, when the Gentiles are starting to come to accept Jesus as Lord, they quote the Amos passage as fulfillment, as being fulfilled by the incoming of the Gentiles. David's tent, or that language, David's tabernacle, that's a well-known metaphor for the family or the lineage of a person. That passage has to do with the Psalm 2 promise that the Davidic king was going to get all the nations are going to come in, for every tribe and nation are going to come in under Messiah's reign. And that is how the apostles interpreted and applied that verse. And they say that their day, when the Gentiles first coming in, fulfilled that Amos promise. Now, we can go into multiple layers of fulfillment, 5 different layers of fulfillment of prophecy, all true. But my point is, the apostles did not apply that passage to anything to do with singing, anything to do with music, anything to do with worship. It has nothing to do with singing and so forth. It has to do with the nations coming to find and accept Jesus as Lord, and in their case, the Messiah. Now, we have a crisis. We either believe what the apostles said, or we believe what some very creative typology that came out of 1948 as the basis of our truth and practices. Don't confuse those things which we are free to do and enjoy in our Christian liberty with some sort of biblical mandate of form or a command to do certain things. For instance, I've been in certain Charismatic and Pentecostal meetings, and it's time to dance. And so everybody in the place has to get up and hop around because we need to dance like David danced and so forth. My point is, in this brief exhortation, the Amos passage has nothing to do with praise and worship. So anything about praise and worship that you derive from that as the foundation of your church's teaching about what you do for the first 45 minutes of a service, based on that passage, is apostolically illegitimate. It is not how the apostles understood that passage. So make your choice. Either line up with the apostles or line up with some creativity from 1948. And I'll see you the next time.